Hi everyone, welcome to the Member Care Foundations course. Today I will share with you three things. Number one is I will give you an overview of the next 30 days, what it includes and how you can participate. Number two, I will share my personal story, how I got involved in member care. And number three, I will show you that at the end of those 30 days, you can do it. You can get involved, you can develop, and you can even start your own member care ministry. Today we will start. Today is week 1, day 1. The course will include a YouTube video for you to watch. It includes a worksheet that can be downloaded in PDF in the footnotes below. And it will include discussion in the Facebook community group. We will be hundreds of people, so I expect a lot of interaction, fruitful discussions, and the sharing of resources. The course will be 30 days long. Week 1 will be about context, mindset, and theology. Week 2 will be different member care models. There are different member care models out there, and I will introduce several of those. Week 3 will be a new model called the Pyramid of Care that I will introduce to you. Week 4 will be your stories. We will look at examples of detours, of crisis, and of care in the Bible as well as in real life out there today. We will end these 30 days by how to make it work, how to grow your member care ministry, and how you build a member care center. We have several hundred people, so this is going to be fun. Number 2 is sharing my personal story with you and how I got into member care. January 12, 96, my wife and 2 of my children, at that time 1 and 3 years old, we boarded a plane in Berlin and we flew to China to join an orphanage ministry in a welfare center in China. Because I spoke Chinese, I was immediately in leadership positions in China. A joint venture partner with the Chinese government, a team leader, an employer of 30 Chinese staff, and so on. An amazing work. I really felt like, wow, this is it. I'm in the center of God's will. But 3 years later, I was done. My tank was empty. I was exhausted. I had physical symptoms in my chest. I had chest pain. And I was frustrated. I was at the end. I couldn't relate to God anymore. I was like, what is this about? How can this continue? I was really at the end of my rope. We discovered this book, Too Valuable to Lose, and it is about exploring the causes and cures for missionary attrition. And that was like fresh water on our dry souls. We found a psychologist and a pastoral care couple who were able to identify with us, have empathy, and help us through this time of crisis that we were in. And after a process of healing and restoration, we moved to Chiang Mai, Thailand, to be close to China, but not in China. As we processed that there are other people out on the field with major needs, it wasn't just us, it was many other people, I felt like we need to set up something. We need to start something. I'm not a counselor, I'm not a psychologist, so who am I to start in member care? Then it was maybe 1999 or 2000, I met Larry Gardner at the conference in the United States called Mental Health and Missions. Larry Gardner is with Wycliffe SAL, and she shared about the member care facilitator. And immediately that spoke to me. I'm a facilitator. I'm not a counselor, I'm not a psychologist, I'm a facilitator. So, and it's like many medical doctors or many people in certain professions, they are very good in their professions, but they are not so good in the administrative part of the work. And I felt like that's me. I can do this. I'm a manager kind of person. I'm a social entrepreneur kind of person. I'm a leader. And that really fits me. So I started a member care center. That was about 2001, 2002 in Chiang Mai, Thailand, the Well Member Care Center. In Chiang Mai, Thailand at the Well, we initially started with seminars, trainings, and then after a while, psychologists and counselors came. And so we had a mix of trainings and also one-on-one services. And that grew and grew over the years. And in 2005, the tsunami hit, and the well started a second office in the south of Thailand. 2006, I moved back to China to start a member care center there. At the same time, I was asked to be the coordinator and leader of the global member care network. And so my member care facilitation ministry continued. In China, we started off also focusing on foreigners living in China. We slowly shifted from the foreign population in China to the national population in China. And that was also the last 10 years when the Chinese church mobilized Chinese to go back to Jerusalem, to go overseas, back to the Central Asia, into mission work. And so we were at a very strategic time in China when there was a lot of change and movement. So that's like 20 years of member care that I've been part of. And I guess there is not much I haven't seen. I've been involved in different roles and forms, in earthquakes, in terror attacks, in death, in murder, in adultery. One missionary guy had even two families, one Western family and an Asian family, and none of them knew about each other. I've been involved in self-harming behavior, in tons of accidents, evacuation, violence, depression, conflicts in teams and leadership, losing faith and disappointment about God. Church back home stops support because of changes in the missionary life. Missionary kids, third culture kids, educational needs, homeschooling. And in 2018, I myself and two of my kids got arrested and interrogated for 40 hours and deported. So I have seen my share of things. As you see in this little cartoon, Ziggy cartoon about Detour, I was really able to identify with that. Like I had in my own life, I wanted to do orphanage work in China. Our tanks were empty, we had to leave, so there was a detour, and there was a whole lot of frustration. And then another detour and another detour. In the end, we realized, well, maybe the detour is our calling after all. And many people in member care got involved into member care because of their own life's journey, because of their own crisis, because of their own detours. And initial disappointments in God, and then they had to adjust their image of God and their relationship with God. Disappointments in people and in corporation, and they had to adjust. So detours are part of every person's lives, and detours are part of our growth, our personal growth. And it takes strength and it takes outside help to process and healthily include and integrate a detour into a new way, a new direction, and a new vision. Well, that's part of my story, and it brings me to my last point today, which is I want to show you how these 30 days can help you to develop and even start your own member care ministry. What I like to call this is to become a member care ministry planter, whatever it is. Member care ministry planter, not a church planter, but a ministry planter. And I feel like there are tons of needs out there still in the area of member care within organizations, within churches, within different nations or regions. Some member care areas are further developed than others. And I want to encourage you to become a developer and a ministry planter in the area of member care. Even if you're not a psychologist and even if you're not a counselor. I'm not a psychologist, but I'm a social entrepreneur, and you can do that too, to develop and start ministries. So this is it for today. Tomorrow we will talk about what is actually member care. Where does the term member come from? It's a strange word, isn't it? Member. Where does the word come from? And how is it different from other words? And what does it include and mean? So see you again tomorrow. Bye for now.